Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah.
Another episode of Trash Talk. TJ O'Connor with me, as always, my partner Damian, the Wolverine Hill. Trash Talk is joined tonight by Ricky Field, number 6 ranked in the Trash Talk rankings, 135 pounds and under. He's fighting November 15th at Jackpot Junction against Jeremiah Harper. Trash Talk is sponsored, as always, by Valhalla Combat Sports Incorporated, Ink Shrinks Tattoo, and Mile High CBD Buds. Ricky, how you doing tonight?
Not bad. Thanks for having me. How are you guys?
Doing good. Can't complain. And just glad that we finally were able to get you on the show. And man, like I really appreciate it. And I mean, we're nothing without the fighters. So Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I really appreciate the opportunity as well.
Oh man, like I said, I'm excited to get a chance to talk to you. I feel like you're one of the guys at 135 that are one of the sleepers at most. I mean, obviously you're ranked in the top 10, but I feel like the power you bring at that weight class is an X factor at all weight. Just for the fans that don't know, a little background on you. How about a little background as far as how you got into martial arts? Any martial arts training as a kid, and what gym you train at?
So I guess it all started with karate with my father. You know, he started teaching me the kicks and the forms and stuff. I didn't really pursue it as a kid. I did a little bit of wrestling in high school, and then I got into a jiu-jitsu gym 10 years ago, and jumped around from gym to gym. Went to 4th Street Gym in Rochester. And I've just been around a lot of high quality fighters, and so that's kind of where I got my start at.
Hold on, is that 4th Street Boxing Gym?
Yes, yeah, they're in Rochester by the YMCA.
So
closed down.
I was just gonna touch. I don't even have a question. That just makes sense. I mean, you have some pretty nice hands, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was a great experience. I wasn't there very long. I kind of jumped around a lot. You know, I've really hit my consistency here as of late.
Hell yeah.
That's awesome. And you mentioned getting into it a while ago. You had a couple of fights when you were very young, and then took a couple years off. I'm assuming just to improve, and then came back with a bang in 2018. I mean, showed off improved striking. Was that lapse in fighting? Was that something that was planned, or was it just something that kind of happened organically?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's just a natural evolution of who I am as a person, and I think my fighting displays that hard work that I put into life. So.
Yeah. Well, you spoke a little bit on your wrestling background as well. How much time did you actually spend wrestling? And I mean, from what I've seen in your fights, I think that you'd prefer to stand up, but that isn't always the reality in some people's cases. Just sometimes people just don't have the opportunity to show off their ground game all the time, you know. But which do you prefer to do in the ring, or I mean in the cage?
I mean, we all like to go for the knockout. I like to think of myself as a striker, but yeah, I have that wrestling base. You know, I didn't spend much time wrestling. I never got to like the college level or anything like that, but I've trained a lot of jiu-jitsu, and I think the ground game has really come together here lately.
Oh yeah. And is there anything that you think that would catch people by surprise when you're on the ground? I mean, like, not necessarily trying to give away too much of a game plan or like what your go-to move is or anything like that, but like, what do you think people have to expect from you when it goes to the ground? Are you one of those guys that tries to get a reversal and get back up on top of your feet, or are you fine with just laying comfortably, keeping your opponent under control until the opportunity to submit him comes?
You know, I think that converting jiu-jitsu into the cage is a little difficult. You know, I'm really comfortable on my back in jiu-jitsu, and I like fishing for submissions. You know, I got great triangle chokes, arm bars, guillotines, all that stuff. You know, I'm well-rounded, but when it comes to putting it into the cage, it's slippery. It's you're getting punched in the face, so it's not something you can just take your time with like you can in a jiu-jitsu match. I think that working on, like you said, reversing the positions to get back to the feet is something I need to applicate into my game, you know.
Well, I mean, you look really good when you're landing some punches, man. So yeah, I mean, I mean, when the fight's on its feet, I feel like you're pretty much in control the whole time.
Yeah.
So I mean, with the wrestling and the jiu-jitsu background, I mean, it'd be no surprise to see you just kick a motherfucker off of you at any time.
Yeah, I think for the 135 division, I'm one of the strongest fighters in that division, and I'll stand true to that. I'll prove that, you know.
Okay, this is off topic. Sorry, TJ. I know you have a question. How tall are you?
I'm around 5'7".
Okay, because I'm like we're kind of around the same height, and I fought at fucking 45 and 55. Yeah, dude, you're a big motherfucker.
Yeah, I'd like to stay lower, you know, until I get into some higher level competition and just see where I'm at, and then start to maybe climb up in the weight.
Oh, I mean, yeah, if you're able to make 135, I mean, it's definitely an advantage. Like Damien said, you're a big guy, and I said it to start the show. I feel like, I mean, there might be guys that can hit as hard, but I don't think you can hit harder than you can bring to a punch at 135.
Yeah.
I mean, that's shown in your fights, and you know, it's one of the things that, like I said, it's an X factor. I've talked to guys that have, you know, fought you in the past. I've talked to guys that, I mean, we've talked to your opponent for this fight. I mean, and you know, people are aware that, you know, when you hit them, they're going to realize it, and I feel like that plays factor. So leading into this fight, you're fighting number 2 ranked Jeremiah Harper. What do you know about him? I mean, as far as an opponent, when I look at this fight on paper, it's one of my favorite amateur fights on this card. You could say it's a striker versus grappler, but listening to you, you're saying, hey, I can grapple too. And we had a chance to talk to him, and he was saying, hey, I can strike too. And that just has all the makings for a great fight. What do you know about him, and what do you expect out of this fight?
You know, I don't know much about Jeremiah. I know that, you know, you don't get ranked number 2 for no reason. I expect a battle, and no real game plan. I just focus on my training and my conditioning, you know, go in there and do what I'm good at.
Oh yeah, he was saying something similar, and that's one of the things that I always appreciate of the fighters. Like, I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna do what I do. But have you paid any attention? Because this is one of the same questions I asked him actually. Have you been? Is it one of those situations where you're just gonna go out and do what you do? You don't give a fuck about anything that he's doing, or do you still just keep in the back of your mind, hey, they're good at this, I need to keep that under control, or do you just go in there and just say, hey, I know, going into camp, I have holes here, and I'm going to sew up those holes before I even get into the fight, and I don't have anything to worry about. I just do what I do.
Yeah, I mean, I try to constantly evolve my game so that I become a new fighter every time I fight. As far as research, I try to do as much research as I can on fighters. It's just one of those things where I just try to stay focused and stay in my zone, and it really comes down to putting it all together inside the cage, you know.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's a great answer too. I mean, you got to have it in your head, but I love it when guys are just like, hey, yeah, that's there. This is what they're good at, but I'm gonna focus on me, and I just got to put it together in the cage, like you said, you know. And I think you both have kind of the same mindset when I asked both of you that question, and that's what makes this fight so amazing, you know. And TJ was saying how exciting he is. Like, this is probably one of the more exciting amateur fights on the card, you know. I don't know if it's the amateur main event or how close it is to the main event, but it's definitely or main event for the amateurs. I mean, it should be if it's not.
Yeah, that'll be something to, you know, I don't really focus on when I fight, or you know what the momentum is behind the fights. I just you know, I really love this sport, and I love to fight, and I just try to put on a good show every time I show up at the cage. You know, I really appreciate all the opportunities I've been given in life, and I just want to seize it. You know, and
Man, Ricky, I really do love your attitude, man, and the way you talk about this. I can hear your passion. I mean, I was a fan before we had a chance to talk, but now getting to talk to you, I can even be more excited for this fight. As far as how the fight goes, Damian was mentioning, you know,
I mentioned something. I mentioned something.
Yeah, no, I completely blanked on that. What I was going to say is how, you know, this is the main event. As far as that goes, that's a great prestigious thing. I always wanted to fight first, personally, just because I feel like once you get to there, it's like I want to go, 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 go. I don't want to sit and wait. Without asking for a game plan, because you mentioned you don't really have one. What's the one thing you need to bring to the cage on November 15 to make sure that your hand gets raised in this fight?
just making sure in the ground exchanges that I'm transitioning back to a top position and dominating on the ground. I don't want people to think that I don't have a ground game. So I definitely plan on if it goes there, I plan on dominating. So that's the game plan. You know, it never works out that way, but that's the game plan so far.
Oh my God. See, you didn't even know the question, but you answered so quick and so confidently, dude. This is why it's so amazing. And like, what gets me so excited for the fights, especially talking with the fighter before the fight. It's just, you get to see inside their head and what they're actually thinking and how they're actually feeling, or you at least get to feel them out to see how they're feeling. And man, that answer just got me so excited even more excited for this fight. Wow.
Yeah. No, this fight's going to be chaos. I can go on and on about it. But just before we wrap this up tonight, Ricky, are there any teammates, any sponsors, coaches, anybody even outside the gym that you want to give a shout out to that's been there for you this camp leading up to the fight?
Yeah, I got a few sponsors I like to thank. I got Canalids, Impact Martial Arts. I got Hellcon, Ivy Ink Tattoo. You know, they've all been supporting me. And, yeah, I'm just really grateful for the opportunity to continue doing what I love.
Oh, yeah. And we appreciate you for being on. All the fans watching, please like and subscribe to Trash Talk with Damian and TJ. And, wow, man, I really appreciate you being on. And especially since you were saying that you didn't think you were going to give a good interview. Man, this was a great fucking interview.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah.
No, it was really fun talking to you, Ricky. Again, fans, November 15th, Jackpot Junction, Ricky Field versus Jeremiah Harper, Driller Promotions. Be there or be square.
Be there or be a bitch.
Are you listening? Damn.